the third consecutive week, we are here in the Fight Sphere at Mohegan Sun and set for the weigh-ins as tomorrow night we continue the light heavyweight world Grand Prix quarterfinal round with fights 2 and 3 featuring in the main event a rematch this time for the title as the challenger. Mr. Wonderful Phil Davis takes on the champ in his first defense, Vadim Nemkov. Welcome to Mohegan Sun Arena for the Bellator 257 weigh-ins. I'm Michael C. Williams. As we get underway, let's first acknowledge and say thank you to the Mohegan Tribe, Department of Athletic Regulation, supervising today and tomorrow night. Cape-side, as always, Director Mike Mazzulli. Tomorrow night, the action, main card, live on Showtime, gets underway 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And be sure to catch the first fights of the evening, the prelim card kicking off tomorrow night at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 out on the West Coast. And you can catch the prelims live on YouTube at Bellator MMA and Showtime Sports. And you can also catch them on the Pluto TV app. Just look for the Bellator MMA channel. And now, let's get the first fighters to the scale off the prelim card. Here's your first matchup, featherweights. J.J. Wilson and Pedro Carvalho. And your first fighter making his way to the scale from Auckland, New Zealand, J.J. the Maori Kid Wilson. Fighting out of San Diego, undefeated as a pro. His weight, 146.75. 146 and 3/4 pounds for Wilson. And now his opponent, fighting out of Dublin, Ireland, by way of Yanez, Portugal. Please welcome Pedro Carvalho. As a professional, 11 victories, 4 defeats. On the scale, 144.75, 144 and 3/4 pounds for Carvalho. And there, your first matchup, prelims tomorrow night, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 on the West Coast. It's J.J. Wilson, Pedro Carvalho. And we'll stay in the featherweight division for fight number 2. Out of Denmark, Mads Burnell. Out of England, Sal Rogers. Your first fighter, blue corner. At 14 and 3 as a professional, we welcome Mads Burnell. On the scale, officially 146 even for Burnell. And now his opponent, fighting out of Manchester, England, at 14 and 3 as a pro, the Hangman Sal Rogers. On the scale, 145 and 3/4 pounds, 145.75 for Rogers. Your second fight in the featherweight division, your second fight overall, tomorrow prelims. It is Mads Burnell, Sal the Hangman Rogers. And now we'll go to the light heavyweight division. It's Victor Nemkov, King Carl Albrechtsen. And now set to make his Bellator debut. His professional record, 30 victories, 7 defeats, 1 draw, Victor Nemkov. Officially on the scale, 206, 206 pounds even for Victor Nemkov. And now his opponent out of Stockholm, Sweden, returning to the Bellator cage, King Carl Albrechtsen. As a professional, 10 victories, 3 defeats. And on the scale, officially 205 and 3/4 pounds. 205.75 for Albrechtsen. In a night that features the light heavyweights, here's your first of all of our light heavyweight matchups. Victor Nemkov, King Carl Albrechtsen. And next up we go to the lightweight division. Again set for 3 5-minute rounds. Marcus Surin, Lance Gibson Jr. Your first fighter out of Spring Valley, New York. At 6-2 as a pro, Marcus the Blueprint Surin. Back to the Bellator cage and on the scale, officially 155.25. 155 1/4 for Surin. And now his opponent, undefeated early on as a professional at 3-0, fearless Lance Gibson Jr. Out of Port Moody, British Columbia, Canada. On the scale, he comes in 155 even. 155 pounds even for Gibson Jr. Lightweight set for tomorrow's prelim card. It's your fourth fight of the evening. Marcus the Blueprint Surin, fearless Lance Gibson Jr. And now we go to the welterweight division. We'll run it back between Peter Stanonik and Raymond Daniels. First fighter out of San Antonio by way of Killeen, Texas, Peter Stanonik. At 4-4 as a pro. On the scale, he weighs in 170 even, 170 pounds even for Stanonik. And now we welcome the human highlight reel, Raymond, the real deal, Daniels. The world-class, world champion kickboxer as the mixed martial artist stands at 2-1, fighting out of Orange, California. On the scale, 169 3/4 pounds, 169.75 for Daniels. Their first matchup ended early with an unintentional blow. We'll run it back here at Bellator 257 in the welterweight division. Peter Stanonik, Raymond, the real deal, Daniels. And now we'll stay with the welterweights as we get set for the Marquez Scrap Iron, Jackson and Gracik Bozinia. Your first fighter out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida at 11-4 as a pro, the Marquez Scrap Iron, Jackson. Officially 170 3/4 pounds for Jackson, 170.75. And now his opponent back in the Bellator cage, fighting out of Yamnoya, Russia, by way of Armenia. Please welcome Gracik Blackstone Bozinia. As a professional, 10 victories, 4 defeats. And on the scale, 170 even. 170 pounds even for Bozinia. Welterweight set for 3 5-minute rounds prelims tomorrow night. The Marquez Scrap Iron, Jackson Gracik Blackstone Bozinia. Let's move now to the heavyweight division. The 7th fight on the prelim card, Sean Asher, Steve Mowry. And your first fighter out of Decatur, Ohio. Please welcome the bully, Sean Asher. (13-3-1) overall as a professional. On the scale, the heavyweight comes in to 47.25, 247 1/4 pound for Asher. And now his opponent, undefeated as a professional at 8-0, please welcome Steve Mowry. Fighting out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Undefeated inside the Bellator cage, undefeated overall. And on the scale, 247 even, 247 pounds even for Mowry. And here's the heavyweight matchup on the prelim card. 3 5-minute rounds or less. The bully Sean Asher, Steve Mowry. And we'll go back now to the light heavyweight division. It'll be Gregory Milliard and Julius Anglikskas. First fighter to the scale out of Chocolate City, Aruba. 12-6 as a pro. The Arubian assassin, Gregory Milliard. Officially 205.5, 205 and 1/2 pounds for Milliard. And now his opponent fighting out of St. Louis, Missouri by way of Lithuania. Please welcome Julius Anglikskas. Impressive inside the Bellator cage overall. He's near perfect. 9 victories, just 1 defeat on the scale. 205 even. 205 pounds for Anglikskas. One of our 4 fights on the entire evening in the light heavyweight division. Set for 3 5-minute rounds. Gregory Milliard, Julius Anglikskas. And now we conclude the prelim card tomorrow night. It'll be featherweight Diana Silva, Julia, the Jewel Bud. And now your first fighter as a pro. She stands 9-5. Please welcome Diana Silva. Fighting out of Nova Iguaçu, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. On the scale, 144 3/4 pounds. 144.75 for Silva. And now, Bellator's former featherweight world champion, Julia, the Jewel Bud. As a professional, 14 victories, just 3 defeats. On the scale, 145.25. 145 1/4 pounds for Bud. And here's your featherweight matchup, the final fight on the prelim card tomorrow night. Diana Silva, Julia Bud. You can catch it YouTube, Bellator MMA, or Showtime Sports, or on Pluto TV. Start time, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 on the West Coast. From Mohegan Sun Arena, we are set for the weigh-ins for Bellator 257 as we continue the light heavyweight World Grand Prix in the quarterfinal round. We've got fights 2 and 3. In the co-main event, Yags against Anderson. And in the main event for the title, 5 rounds or less. The rematch is Mr. Wonderful Phil Davis as he takes on the champ in his first defense, Vadim Nemkov. Our 4-fight main card tomorrow night live on Showtime kicks off with a slugfest at a contract weight of 175 pounds. It'll be Homasi against Daley. First fighter making his way to the scale at 15-8 as a professional. We welcome Sabah, the Sleep Sheik, Homasi. 10 knockouts, 2 submissions. to his credit. And on the scale, 175 even, 175 pounds for Homasi. And now, the veteran out of Nottingham, England, Paul Semtex Daley. 42 victories as a pro with 17 losses, 2 draws, 33 knockouts on his record. On the scale, officially, for Daley, 174.75, 174 3/4 pounds for Semtex.
Okay, guys, come on in. Keep it clean, gentlemen.
Tomorrow night, live on Showtime, the main card kicks off.
Today, boys. No one gets
Fireworks early on. It'll be 3 5-minute rounds or less. Sabah Homasi, Paul Semtex Daley.
All right, guys. Good luck. Good luck.
And now we'll go to the flyweight division. It'll be Desiree, Dirty Des, Yanez, and Vita Arteaga. First fighter out of Waco, Texas, Desiree, Dirty Des, Yanez. As a professional, 5 victories, 2 defeats, with 2 knockouts, 1 submission. And on the scale, 125.75, 125 3/4 pounds for Yanez. And now her opponent, a former Bellator title challenger, Vita Arteaga. The fighter out of Boise, Idaho, at 5-4 as a pro, 2 finishes on her record. And on the scale, 124.5, 124.5 pounds for Arteaga.
Okay, you over here on the blue. I'm on the red, sorry. Okay. Face off, ladies. Okay, face the cameras. Face the cameras.
And there's your matchup. Fight number 2 in the main card, live on Showtime. Desiree, Dirty Des, Yanez, Vita Arteaga.
Good luck. Good luck tomorrow.
And now we return to Bellator's light heavyweight World Grand Prix fight number 2, quarterfinal round. Doblajan, Yakshim Muradov, Corey, Overtime Anderson. And your first fighter making his Bellator debut from Turkmenistan, we welcome Doblajan, Yakshim Muradov. As a professional, 18 victories with 5 defeats, 1 draw, 11 knockouts, 4 submissions on his record, and his weight, 204.5, 204.5 pounds for Yakshim Muradov. And now his opponent, just off his successful TKO win in his Bellator debut, we welcome Corey, Overtime Anderson. At 14-5 as a professional, he brings 6 knockouts. And on the scale, 204.75, 204 3/4 pounds for Overtime.
Keep it clean, gentlemen.
Tomorrow night live on Showtime, it'll continue. The quarterfinals, light heavyweight World Grand Prix. There's your second fight in the round. Doblajan, Yakshim Muradov, Corey, Overtime Anderson.
All right, guys. Good luck to both. Good luck. Go
And tomorrow night in the main event, the quarterfinals, light heavyweight World Grand Prix, the challenger, Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis, the champ, Vadim Nemkov.
My best friend in 7th grade, he asked me to try out for the wrestling team with him. It was terrible. I got beat up in wrestling practice. I was smelly, I was dirty. It was awful. I'd never go back. Talking with my mother, she said, just do it till the end of the week and then quit. And I just forgot to quit. I forgot to quit.
Когда мы тренировались в поселке, у нас были тренировки утром перед школой. В 7 утра мы уже приходили на тренировку. Дети с моего класса там смотрели какие-то мультики. Потом на следующий день приходили, все это обсуждали. Все это время был на тренировке, я не понимал, о чем идет речь.
Watching fights growing up, I would see these guys in the cage fighting, and I would say, this is stupid. There's no way I'll let somebody kick me in the dang head. These guys are crazy. I watched it enough, and then I was like, this isn't half bad. You know, maybe I can give it a go. Or at least give it to the end of the week. You know.
Службу проходил в бригаде специального назначения. Много стрелял и прыгал с парашютом. Служба в армии очень понравилась. Она закалила меня, мой характер. Все результаты начались после армии.
I'm all about competing. I want to compete against each and every one of the guys in this tournament. Because I want the respect that comes with beating each and every one of those guys.
Ну и если честно, я считаю, что наша подгруппа, мой бой с Филом Дэвисом и Ромеро Рамбл, это наша подгруппа более жесткая, чем другая подгруппа.
I did a couple of things that ended up costing me the fight. Number one, I gave up a takedown. And a lot of times I will give up positions in order to gain the position that I want. It works with most guys. It did not work with him.
Phil Davis on the ground, he's a beast.
And I didn't finish my favorite position, the Kimura, and that just, man, it can't happen. If I get two hands on your wrist, I'm breaking it. If at any point I put two hands on your wrist, it's broke. That's how I live life.
Если честно, сейчас я сконцентрирован на своем поединке с Филом Дэвисом. Я считаю, что каждому бойцу можно подобрать ключик. У всех есть сильные и слабые стороны. Фил Дэвис, например, он хорошо борется и хорошо бьет. И он терпеливый и идет до конца всегда.
You know, what makes Nemkov such a dangerous opponent, he's very versatile. He has a high fighter IQ, and he knows where to put his foot on the gas and where to lean into his advantages. I'm gonna beat you up with a smile, because I'm happy, and I don't hate you. God bless you, I'm gonna beat you up.
Я считаю, что эти жертвы стоят того, потому что вкус победы — это ни с чем не сравнимо. А если еще на плече пояс висит, то это ощущение просто незабываемо.
And now we welcome our first fighter, the former Bellator light heavyweight world champion, tomorrow night, the challenger, Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis. By way of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, he fights out of San Diego, California, 22-5 as a pro, 11 finishes on his record on the scale, 205 even, 205 pounds even for Davis. And now, the champion in his first defense of the belt, he is the defending Bellator light heavyweight world champion, Vadim Nemkov. As a professional, 13 victories, just 2 defeats, 10 knockouts, 2 submissions for the fighter out of Stadiosko, Russia. On the scale, 204.5, 204.5 pounds for Nemkov. In the main event live on Showtime, the third fight in the quarterfinal round. This one for the world title, your challenger, Mr. Wonderful Phil Davis, the champion, defending that belt for the first time, Vadim Nemkov.
All right, guys, good luck. Good luck to both of you. Good luck.
Tomorrow night's 4-fight main card live on Showtime. Again, we'll kick off the prelims at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:30 out on the West Coast, 1/2 hour earlier than last week. Please make a note. The main card tomorrow night will be live on Showtime. Your start time 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 on the West Coast. Bellator 257 will see you tomorrow night live on Showtime.
MMA's toughest tournament rages on.
So is that all you got?
When newly crowned champ Vadim Nemkov returns to the cage to face Phil Davis.
So is that all you got?
Then Corey Overtime Anderson is on the attack to take down rising star Wolfhound Yaksi Morodo.
Ground and pound!
As the hunt for the title heats up. The Bellator MMA Light Heavyweight World Grand Prix, live tomorrow on Showtime.